is Saeed Fadloun. I'm working in the Sharia Compliance and Product Development Department at Rayan Bank. Today our session, inshallah, will be how does Islamic banking really work? But before we start, just a quick question. How many of you believe Islamic banking products are different to conventional products? Hands up if you agree. Inshallah, our goal of this session, inshallah, to answer this question, how does Islamic banking really work? And inshallah, after this session will be like that. Inshallah. So how can I? So I have divided my presentation into four sections. We'll start with a brief introduction to Islamic finance, and then in a brief about Sharia governance framework, and then some financial contracts and techniques applied by Rayan Bank, and at the end, inshallah, I'll be very happy to answer your questions. So brief introduction to Islamic finance. To answer our question, we will use Rayan Bank as an example. So Rayan Bank, it was founded in 2004. It's UK first and largest Islamic bank in the UK. By the way, in the UK there are more than 20 financial institutions offer Islamic financial services. So the Rayan Bank considered the first and largest Islamic bank in the market. We offer to our customer more than 30 products and services. We have around 15 branches and offices, 5 branches and 10 offices from Glasgow to London, so almost everywhere in Rayan Bank. Also, we have like a contact center based in Birmingham, so we try to serve our customers everywhere in the UK. Our customers around more than 75,000 customers. 28% of them we consider 28% are non-Muslim. So mainly they come to us because we offer good services. And by the way, Rayan Bank this year was selected as the best provider for fixed term deposit account. So best provider in the UK. So that's considered. So we are challenging some big banks in the market. And alhamdulillah, we were elected by many facts, which independent company. They selected Rayan Bank as the best fixed term deposit provider in the market, in the UK market. Basically, we are a UK bank, so we are authorized by Prudential Regulation Authority and regulated by Financial Conduct Authority and Prudential Regulation Authority. In a brief about the regulation in the UK, in April 2013, the Financial Service Authority split into two authorities. So we have Financial Conduct Authority. Financial Conduct Authority, their responsibility to protect customers and to improve the competition between financial institutions. And Prudential Regulation Authority, it's subsidiary of Bank of England. Their responsibility to check the safety and soundness of banks in the UK. So we are regulated by Financial Conduct Authority and Prudential Regulation Authority. And definitely, we are a Sharia compliant bank. So just in a brief about Sharia. Sharia is the Islamic law. The primary sources of Sharia, Quran and Sunnah. Quran, the holy book of Muslim. For example, in Quran, just in a brief, in Quran it's written it's not allowed to deal with interest. So very clear in Quran, if you don't leave interest, you should expect a war from Allah. Or if you don't leave riba, very clear, you should expect a war from Allah. So it's not allowed to deal with interest. That's primary source from Quran. Also we have Sunnah, what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us and what he did. And basically, mudaraba is taken from Sunnah. So that's the primary sources, Quran and Sunnah. Secondary sources, we have ijma' or consensus of the scholars. For example, we have ijma' between the scholars that it's not allowed to sell the debt. Also, we have consensus between the scholars. Islamically, it's not allowed to charge for late payment. However, the scholars said nowadays, if we want to tell our customers, we will not penalize you, simply no one will pay on time. So the scholar said it's allowed to penalize customers if they are not making the payment on time. However, this amount of money, just to cover your cost, anything above your cost, should be donated to charities. So it's not for the bank. So it should be donated to charities, just to cover, because in case you say to your customers, we will not penalize you, no one will pay on time. So we have consensus between the scholars about that. We have also qiyas, or analogical reasoning, or estimating. For example, some new issues, for example, smoking. Smoking wasn't at the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. But we have rules, la darara wa la dirar. That means don't do something bad for yourself and something bad for others. According to these rules, they will estimate and they will say, according to this rule, it's not allowed to smoke. So they will estimate. So that's qiyas. Also, we have ijtihad, individual opinion. So some scholars might say it's okay, others might say that's not okay. And all of them will be based on Quran and Sunnah, the primary sources. So Sharia is the Islamic law. Primary sources of Sharia, Quran and Sunnah. Secondary sources, we have qiyas, we have ijma', qiyas, and ijtihad. So now interest. Also another question. How many of you believe it's wrong to deal with interest? Also hands up. What's wrong? Do you believe it's wrong to deal with interest? MashaAllah, majority. I can confirm also majority of our customers believe it's wrong to deal with interest. But also, always we have a question. How interest is different to profit? Always come to us like, you are charging extra and you are giving me extra. So how interest is different to profit? So simply, let us have this example. Let us say this room is our world economy. This room, our world economy. And in our world economy, we just have this 20 pound. So in our world economy, we just have this 20 pound. Simply with the interest-based system, you don't have any money, I just have this 20 pound. I will not do any activities, and I will not do anything. Simply I will lend this money with interest. For example, I will lend it to my brother here. I didn't take any risk, I didn't share him the risk, I didn't involve any activities, and I don't care about his activities. The most important for me... The most important for me to have a 25 pound. So I didn't do any activities, I'm just transferring the risk. So I'm just transferring the risk without taking any risk, without involving activities or anything. The most important to have a 25 pound. Why he should accept? First, because he doesn't have any money. Next, because he will lend it out to someone else. Now I made my money. Let us say he will lend it to Omar here. Also, he didn't take any risk, didn't take any activities, and he doesn't care about his activities. He just needed 30 pound. Also, Omar will lend it to someone else to have a 35 pound, and so on and so on. So simply from 100 pound, and by the way, each one of us will sell the debt. So for example, for me, I will sell the debt for 22 pound. I will have another 22 pound to lend it out to someone else. So we started from 20, but now in our world economy, we have maybe more than 1,000. And simply without doing any activity, and we didn't do anything. Let us say, brother, for example, Omar, will not be able to pay off the loan. What will happen? We have two options. Either to give him another loan, which we are rich, very rich now, because he's working hard, and he's giving us money and the interest. So we have two options. Either to give him another loan, to pay us the interest and the loan, or we would have financial crisis. The whole system would be collapsed. And that's what happened in 2008. And simply, if you do simple research now, you will realize our world debt more than our world GDP. GDP, gross domestic product. And the problem is the world debt growing faster than the world GDP. So one day, it's impossible for us to pay off our debt. So the economy will start to go up and down again, up and down again. So that's just the situation will be in normal conventional banking. Islamic finance works in different way. Nothing wrong if you want to make money, but this money is not commodity. It's just a medium of exchange. If you want to make money, simply you should not lend money with interest. Nothing wrong to lend money. The issue with the charging interest. So nothing wrong to give it to him and to share the risk. So in this way, I'm not lending. I'm investing with him. So we have sharing risk. We should share the risk if we want to make profit. We have to involve commodity or activities in the transaction. And very important part, we have to make sure the activities are in line with Sharia principles or ethical activities. In this way, nothing wrong to make a profit. And in this way, we call it a profit, not interest. And that's how profit is different to interest. And even this issue, even from the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because even in Quran it's written, قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. That means they say trading is only like riba, whereas Allah has permitted trading and forbidden riba. So that's the reason why it's prohibited, and that's how profit is different to interest. So just in brief about profit and interest. Also we have gharar, or uncertainty. Uncertainty here, I don't mean risk. I mean uncertainty regarding the transaction of the contract. So uncertainty might be related to the subject matter, related to the price, related to the time. For example, I might tell you I will sell you my mobile. If I don't mention the brand of this mobile, it's gharar, or uncertainty in the transaction, and that's not allowed. It happens in our life, like, don't worry, bro, about the price. You will pay me later. No, that's gharar, that's uncertainty. You should explain now the price, how much, otherwise we might have conflict in the future. So that's uncertainty or gharar. So in Islamic bank, any Islamic bank, when we have any contract, always, even when we are dealing with customers, always we have to make sure we are clear, fair, and not misleading our customers. Otherwise, we will have gharar, uncertainty in the transaction. Also, that's in brief about gharar. Also, we have maysar or gambling. Because simply, if you are lucky, you will make money without doing any activities. If you are not lucky, you will lose your money. At the same time, you have many different ways if you want to make profit. We have mudaraba, or special type of partnership, musharaka, partnership contract, ijara, lease contract. So now in brief about Sharia governance framework. Someone might say, okay, it looks great, but how can I make sure the bank in general apply these rules or these principles? So simply, that's the organizational structure to any bank. We have shareholders, we have board of directors, we have executive committee, we have departments or departments. We have, for example, finance, IT, HR. Extra for Islamic banks, we have something called Sharia Supervisory Committee. Sharia Supervisory Committee, they are independent, so they don't report to anyone in the bank. They report directly to shareholders. They are similar to external auditor or solicitor, so they don't care if we make profit or not. The most important for them to make sure everything in line with Sharia principles. Before we offer any products, we should send the structure of the products, the terms and conditions, everything related to the products, and they will recommend, for example, some changes, and at the end they will issue certificate to say we checked everything related to these products and no Sharia issues. At the end of the year or regular basis, they will do audit to make sure everything is still in line with Sharia principles. Usually Sharia, by the way, here in the UK, we don't have any regulatory requirement for Sharia Supervisory Committee. In many other countries, like Malaysia, for example, they have Sharia Supervisory Committee in the central bank. Or Sudan, or many other countries, they have Sharia Supervisory Committee in the central bank, and they have regulatory requirement for Sharia Supervisory Committee. In Rayan Bank, what we do, we follow AOFI standards. AOFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions. So we have three members in our committee, two of them on AOFI board, Abdel Sattar Abu Ghuddi and Sheikh Nizam Yaqoobi. So in Rayan Bank, we don't have any regulatory requirement for Sharia Supervisory Committee, but we follow AOFI standards. Someone might say, usually Sharia Supervisory Committee, they have meetings 3 times or 4 times a year, or 5 or 6, but they are not exist in the bank. So how can they make sure everything is still in line with Sharia principles? So extra, we have something called Sharia Compliance Department. Sharia Compliance Department, they will work closely with all these departments on daily basis to make sure no Sharia issues. And they will report directly to Sharia Supervisory Committee. What they do in Sharia Compliance Department, They do compliance. So they are similar to regulatory compliance department. Regulatory compliance department, their responsibility to check everything to make sure we are still in line with the regulation. Sharia compliance department, they will check everything to make sure we are still in line with Sharia principles and we are still in line with the fatwa issued by Sharia Supervisory Committee. So we check literally everything. Policy, procedures, third-party agreement, marketing collateral, marketing products, products collaterals, literally everything. Even comments on Facebook. If they want to add comments on Facebook, it should be approved by Sharia compliance department to make sure no Sharia issues. So that's the compliance part. Also, they do audit, Sharia compliance audit. It's also similar to internal audit department. Internal audit department, they will check all departments to make sure still everything in line with the policy and procedure and all of these stuff. Sharia Supervisory Committee, Sharia Compliance Department, usually they do Sharia audit during December, January, February, March. So last 4 months, last month of every year and first 3 months to cover the whole year. So they will check everything. If they find any Sharia issues, they will report the issues to Sharia Supervisory Committee. Usually they will give the departments, for example, till June or July to close the issue. So any issues will be reported to Sharia Supervisory Committee, and a committee will be responsible about these issues, and they will close it at usually, as I mentioned, in June or July. Also, they do product development. Product development, they are responsible for developing any new products. So product development in general, by the way, if you want to cover each one of these functions, we need around 5 days training to cover each of these functions. So just in a brief, but usually product development process starts with concept paper. So they prepare concept paper about the product, then it will go to next stage to be approved by ALCO or Asset and Liability Committee or and Sharia Supervisory Committee. When it's approved, they will proceed to next stage. Next stage will be market needs paper. So they will check any demand for this product if you want to offer it. If there is demand, they will go to next stage, which is definition paper. If there is no demand, definitely they will not prepare, they will not develop this product. So in reality, the process or any products start from customers. So if there is no demand, there is no products. So in general, we have many questions sometimes. Why the outcome of Islamic banks similar to conventional? Yes, we know that's why you offer same outcome. Simply because that's the demand in the market. Behave differently as a customers. If there is no demand, it's not possible to offer any products. So that's the demand in the market, and this way the product should be in this way. So that's in brief about product development. We do Sharia compliance training. In Rayan Bank, we have 3 kinds of training. First one, usually first week of every month, Thursday of every month. Anyone joining the bank should do Sharia compliance training. We cover all our products and we train our staff about our products and our culture and our governance structure and all of these stuff. Plus, every February from every year, everyone in the bank should read the training material and should do a test at the end to make sure they are still in line and they know the principles of the bank and all of Sharia issues they might face in their day-to-day job. Plus, we have advanced Islamic finance training. Advanced Islamic finance training, that's for usually managers and senior managers. Usually in this training, we cover everything in Islamic finance, including sukuk, takaful, Sharia governance, all principles of Islamic finance or majority, like example, salam, istisna, which we don't offer. But usually we prefer our managers and head of department or senior manager to be familiar with all kinds of principles available in the market. So that's the advanced Islamic finance training. Also, we do Sharia non-compliance risk management. So we identify any Sharia issues. We try to assess the issue, mitigate the issue, and monitor the issues on a daily basis. Usually we have zero tolerance for some kinds of risk, especially if it's high impact with high probability. So we don't accept any kind of risk similar to this kind of risk. And by the way, usually in the market they say Sharia risk. Sharia risk, that's wrong. to say Sharia risk, because Sharia, the reason behind Islamic banking is never be a risk and will never be a risk. So the risk is Sharia non-compliance risk. So that's in brief about Sharia non-compliance risk management. Why we should care about the Sharia risk or Sharia non-compliance risk? Because simply, everyone in Rayan Bank, they know it's responsibility of the board of directors and executive committee to sort out all issues. So no one would be happy to be punished by the board of directors and executive committee. So we always, the staff try their best to not have any Sharia issues in their transaction. Why the board of directors and executive committee will care? Because simply if we lose confidence from our customer, we'll lose everything, including capital, liquidity, we lose literally everything. So we take it very seriously, and in some cases we might lose income, because if we do the transaction in a wrong way, that might force us to donate money to charities. So we don't want to be in this position. Also, the number of Sharia issues and the rating of the bank will be in the annual report. So it will be published to everyone. So we try our best to not have like this kind of issues, and at the end we might have heavy fine from PRA, or Prudential Regulation Authority, and Financial Conduct Authority. Because our license is an Islamic bank. If we don't offer Islamic services, we are not treating customer fairly. So we try our best to not have any Sharia issues in our transaction. Some challenges for Islamic banks. First one, human resources. I think the best way to differentiate Islamic bank from conventional bank by the people in the market. By the way, the UK considers the largest provider for Islamic finance courses in the world, more than 70 institutions. But we still have risk related to human resources. Why? You can say I've been 3 years and a half, every week we have someone with master's degree or qualification in Islamic finance, like students or someone graduated to say, I have qualification in Islamic finance, but in reality, Islamic finance qualification will not be enough. Because Islamic finance in general, they need project managers, they need HR, they need IT, they need lawyers, they need all kinds of activity, expert in Sharia as well. So to have qualification in Sharia only, that's not enough. Islamic finance in general needs developed skills, like including audit, compliance, everything. So usually we advise the students do other qualifications, like just Islamic finance qualification. We need something else to improve, because the Islamic finance still needs a lot of expert people. So that's in terms of human resources. Awareness of Islamic banking products. This kind of risk divided to 3 parts. First of all, some Muslims, they consider Islamic banks as charities. So they should donate money. A real way, Islamic banks similar to any Muslim. They want to make Sharia compliant activities to generate profit. If you are Muslim and you want to make money or profit, that doesn't mean you have to donate your money. So they have to make a profit in Sharia compliant way. So they are not a charity. So they are a business. They want to make a profit because they have shareholders and people who are depositing money with us. So it's not charity. The second issue, Islamic banks in general, as I mentioned, similar to any Muslim. Any mistake from one Muslim doesn't mean all Muslims doing same mistakes. So if we have any issues about any Islamic bank, that's not necessarily all Islamic bank in the market, they are doing same mistakes. So they will say, oh, see Islamic banks, how they are doing? No, in reality, it's not about Islamic banks in general. The rules are perfect. The implementation, not necessarily. Any mistake from one bank, that doesn't mean all banks doing same mistakes. The other issues, some consider as it's Islamic only for Muslim. In reality, Islamic banks for everyone. Muslim, not Muslim, it's for everyone. And even in some countries, they don't call it Islamic bank. They call it, for example, in Turkey, they call it participation bank. So it's about the structure of the products, how it's different, not about like, it's just for Muslim or it's for everyone. Islamic finance for everyone. That's regarding awareness risk. Sometimes we might face issues with the regulation if it's not in line with the Sharia issues. so it might not be able to offer some products. In the UK, considered one of the best regulation for Islamic finance in the world, but at the same time, still a lot to be done. For example, many customers came to us to say, why you don't offer personal finance? Because simply in personal finance under Consumer Credit Act. Consumer Credit Act, you must mention interest in your contract. And Consumer Credit Act for the whole Europe, not just UK. So it's difficult to change it. So sometimes they have issues regarding the regulation. And as I mentioned, from 2002 till today, they made massive changes to help Islamic finance in general. But still a lot to be done. And as I mentioned, the regulation in the UK considered one of the best in the market. But we still have we are working on some issues. And at the end, rate of return risk. Because simply in Islamic finance, it's not allowed to give fixed rate. So you should do Sharia compliant activities and share the risk. So we have to be careful where we invest our money to make sure we will achieve our expected profit rate. And over 13 years, we always achieve our expected profit rate. And in some cases, we paid more than our expected profit rate. So that's considered one of the risks in terms of Islamic finance. So now the structure of the products. Just explain two products. We'll start with Mudaraba. Mudaraba in a brief, like it's profit sharing contract. In Mudaraba, we have two parties. One provide the capital, and the second party provide the expertise. They have to agree from the beginning about the profit sharing ratio. Not to say, for example, I need £50 or £20. To say, if we make a profit, I need £50, 50% from the profit and 50% for you, or 40, 60, whatsoever. So they have to agree from the beginning about the profit sharing ratio. If they make a loss, one party will lose his time and effort, and the second party will lose his money. Because anyway, the first party didn't provide any money. So he will lose his time and effort, and Islamically, it's not allowed to give him salary. So he will not take any fees about his activities. So that's in brief about Mudaraba. And by the way, Mudaraba is taken from Sunnah because Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he used to take money from Sayyida Khadija. So she used to be the capital provider. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he used to be as a Mudarib. He used to take the money to go to Bilad al-Sham to do Sharia compliant activities. When he get back, he used to share the profit between him and her. So that's Mudaraba in a brief. How does it work? We might see the outcome is similar to conventional, but the structure is completely different. So the customers will be the capital provider. The bank will be as a mudarib. So simply the customers will give us money. As a mudarib, we will do Sharia compliant activities. Let us say, for example, we generated £100. So we will say 50% from this £100 for the customer and £50 for us. However, the customer will not take the £50. The customer will take only the expected profit rate. So when we announce in our website or our marketing collateral or letters, we'll announce the expected profit rate. So the customer will take only the expected profit rate, which might be £30. The £20 extra will go to profit stabilization reserve. So profit stabilization reserve just to mitigate the risk. If one day we don't achieve our expected profit rate, we will use it to pay for this customer or other customers. So it's similar to pool of takaful, just to protect the customers and mitigate the risk. So in general, the customer is happy with the expected profit rate when he deposited the money. The customer happy with the expected profit rate. And in this way, we have pool of fund just to mitigate the risk. And on this pool of fund, we are just a trustee. So it's not for us. So one day we decided to close, we have to donate this money to charities. So it's not for us. This pool of funds just to mitigate the risk. And by the way, we are paying zakat on this pool of fund. So it's not for us, just to mitigate the risk. So the customers might see the outcome, which is extra amount of money. But in reality, the structure is completely different. In this structure, no Sharia issues. So it's not lending-borrowing relationship. So we are sharing the profit and sharing the risk, but we are mitigating the risk. So if Islamically, nothing wrong to mitigate the risk. or you must mitigate the risk. So that's in brief about Mudaraba. Also, we have home purchase plan. We offer home purchase plan. Home purchase plan is based on Musharaka and Ijara. In Musharaka, we have two parties. Both of them provide capital. So both parties will provide the capital. And in our situation, let us go immediately to the structure. Let us say the customers would like to buy property. Islamically, it's not allowed to give him a loan and charge him interest. So simply in our situation, we will buy the house with the customer. So let us say the customers own 20%, pay 20%, so the customers own this part, the rest for us. As the customer, so in this way we'll sign Musharaka contract, because both of us, we bought this property or this house. As the customer would like to live in that property, he has to pay rent. So each month, the customer, because in reality the customers own only one room or even less, the rest for the bank. As he is using these shares, he has to pay rent for using the shares of the bank. So each month, the customer will pay rent plus acquisition payment to buy more from the bank's share. So each month, the customer will pay rent for using our shares and pay acquisition payment to part of our shares. So after 5 years, for example, the customer will own 40%. After 15 years or 20 years, he will own 80%. At the end, he will own the property outright and no need to pay any rent or acquisition payment. That's in a brief about home purchase plan. So just in a brief, to give you some time for question and answer. So how Islamic banks in general is different to conventional banks. So in terms of risk, as I mentioned, we must involve risk in our transaction to be able to make profit. In conventional, they are just transferring the risk. In terms of governance, we have Sharia Supervisor Committee or Ethics Committee to make sure everything in line with Sharia principles or ethical activities. In conventional, they don't have this function. And by the way, even some ethical banking, they started to have like Ethics Committee. And for example, Cooperative in 2013, they announced they will have Ethics Committee in their bank. In reality, they took this technique from Islamic banking because we used to have it a long time ago. So even some ethical banking, they started to learn from Islamic banks how we do our approach to banking. So we have Sharia Supervisor Committee or Ethics Committee. Conventional, they don't have. In terms of the aim, we aim to make profit in Sharia compliant way. In conventional, they don't care. The most important to make profit. Our relationship with our customers is as partner investors. So it's not lending borrowing relationship. In conventional banking, just lending borrowing relationship. In terms of financing approach, as I mentioned, we must involve commodity or asset or activities in our transaction. In conventional, not necessarily. It's based on money. Deposit, we will share the profit with our customers. In conventional, it's just lending borrowing. You will lend them money, we will give you interest. In terms of late payment, it reflects the cost, and anything above our cost will be donated to charities. In terms of conventional, if you don't pay on time, they will charge you, they will make profit from this charge, plus they will increase the loan on you. For example, you borrowed 1,000, if you don't pay after 1 year, they will make it 1,500 or even more. In Islamic, it's not allowed to increase this number. That's in brief. Your questions now.
All right, wow. Hang on a minute, give a big applause.
The question is
But they are very enthusiastic with your lecture.
We've been told it's 45 minutes,
Yes.
so I tried my best to finish in
Actually, we just,
35 minutes.
because we know that
But I wanted to give you more time for questions.
it's gonna be very interesting lecture. Actually, we give you additional 10 minutes, but then because you are happy to give you some Q&A, that's okay.
I'm happy to stay till Maghrib time if you like. But I want to stay with.
So probably the lecture will be 45 minutes, but at the Q&A we will have about 3 hours.
Ah,
so
okay.
don't worry about that. Okay, now the first question. Okay. You go first.
Yeah.
And
Maybe have to go.
and you? And you go first, yeah. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3.
So who's the first one?
So I think we get it first and then you answer it.
Abby first.
Yeah.
Yes, Abby first. Mr. Gangnam Style.
I have met these two gentlemen
Yes,
before
we met,
months
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
So nice meeting you again.
Nice to meet you.
So my question
I recognized you immediately when I
So my question is, I still remember that you're working for the Sharia department,
Yes.
right? So my question is, how do you see the banking product development in bank system?
How I see?
The banking service or product development in bank system.
In the bank
Is
system.
that enough or not? I mean, the new product.
New products.
Yeah, according to Sharia perspective, maybe.
What do you mean? I didn't get the question.
Okay, I said, for example, nowadays, Takaful company,
Yes.
most of the Takaful company, they are willing to cancel Sharia department. Have you heard about it?
They might have some issues regarding in takaful in general. If you want to offer takaful, you should have pool of fund and everyone should contribute to this pool of fund. So if you have any issues, they will give you from this pool of fund. If you don't have many members, it will not be able to offer takaful companies. Because simply it's not similar to normal conventional insurance company. So you need big pool of fund to be able to offer takaful services. So their reason might be we don't have many members. So it's not about Sharia, it's about you don't have many members. Even in the UK, in 2008, we used to have a company called Salam, which used to offer takaful services. But when you don't have many members to contribute to this takaful pool, it's difficult to offer Islamic takaful services. Because simply it's not similar to conventional. In takaful, you have pool of fund. Every one of us, for example, will put £1. So if we have any issues during 1 year, we will take from this pool of fund to help all of us. So when you don't have many members, for example, in this room, we want to have pool of takaful. If only 2 said we need to contribute to this pool of fund, the risk will be very high. So we need many members to be able to offer takaful services. That might be the reason why they wanted to close their services.
I realize because of there's nothing new in Takaful product development. So that's why they're willing to cancel it. And some of the Takaful company already cancel it.
Already, as I mentioned, it might be to the same issue.
Yeah.
Like when you don't have many customers, it's difficult to offer takaful services. So when you want, as I mentioned in my presentation, it starts from customers. If there is no demand, there's no products. So start from customers. If we need different products, we have to think differently and behave differently to be able to offer different products. So sometimes we blame the investors, but at the same time, if there's no demand, how come they will be able to offer this service?
Thank you. Okay, now the second question, please.
My question is maybe about Sharia compliance department. Yeah, because in terms of relation between Rayan Bank and other conventional bank in UK especially and other Muslim minorities bank, conventional bank in Muslim minorities countries. Because it seems like Rayan Bank is the leader of Islamic bank in European countries or in the Muslim minorities country. Does Rayan Bank have give permission or issue legalization for other conventional bank who want to issue sukuk, for example, or any Islamic investment? For example, Goldman Sachs if it is conventional company who issue sukuk, it is not Sharia compliant company. It is not Sharia compliant company, right? But this company refers to Abu Dhabi. If I'm not mistaken, this company refers to Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank for issuing the sukuk. Does Rayan also give legalization for that from the Sharia compliance department?
No. We don't have any relationship with any other banks to offer like Islamic service. Usually, maybe some of you they know Islamic banks services in general offered in different way. We have windows when conventional banks offer Islamic services. We have subsidiary for example, subsidiary bank for conventional bank offer Islamic services, or we have wholly Sharia Islamic bank. And that's the case in Rayan Bank. So we don't have any part or any shareholders or any relationship with conventional banks, or we don't offer them any services. Sometimes we have to deal with them, and when we are dealing with them, we don't charge them anything, and we don't accept from them any interest. So sometimes you have to deposit money with them, but definitely we will not take any interest from them, and we will not give them any return. So we don't offer them any bonds or sukuk or any relationship with similar to Goldman Sachs or.
I mean, that because I expect something like conventional company or financial institution will interest in issue sukuk like Goldman Sachs,
Yeah.
for example, because sukuk will be more interesting in the future. So maybe Rayan Bank have the important role because he is the leader of Islam.
Yes, might be in the future. We might do that in the future, but we might offer sukuk for ourselves, not for conventional or other banks. Or who knows in the future what will happen. But nowadays, we don't offer any Islamic bonds or any sukuk to any other conventional banks. We might have in the future our own sukuk, but that will be for us. Thank you.
The third question is.
Okay, just a simple question. Is
That's good one.
Sorry.
That's a good one.
Okay, okay then. It represents my question from my friends. Does Rayan provide any opportunity for like apprenticeship program?
Thank you so much.
What's the requirement, or does Rayan require any special requirements like holding CFA level 2, 3, and something like that? And then, what's the future of Islamic scholars as you think to be the bankers in the future and something?
Thank you for your question.
Is it your friend question or your question? Okay, anyway.
Thank you for your question. In general, in Rayan Bank, always we have customers, you can say on a weekly basis, they need help in their dissertation, or they need help to do short period in Rayan Bank. Usually, for students who want help in dissertation, usually we don't say no at all. So if they need interview or any help or in any way, we try our best to help the students. But at the end, we are a small bank. And as I mentioned, we have more than 70 institutions in the UK. They are offering courses in Islamic finance. Yes, from time to time, we have students. We do offer them course, like for example, 1 month or 3 months in Rayan Bank. Some of them stayed with us. We signed contract with them and stayed for us for a long time. But the problem is difficult to serve the whole market. So we do have, but as a small bank, you can say like not many.
Because it's part of, part of your CSR because
No.
integrating,
No, because the only reason we are a small bank is not difficult. It's difficult to have students, for example, in each department. So, for example, yesterday I met someone join Treasury department. He wants to stay for 3 weeks. So he will stay there, for example, in 3 weeks. When he finish, maybe we'll have another one. But in reality, the market, we have too many students. We try our best to help as much as we can. So hopefully I answered your question.
This is power of moderator. I can ask questions as many as I can. Yeah, so it's very interesting from your slide that you mentioned that there are 28% your customer are non-Muslim.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And my question is, do you know the reason why they put the money on your bank? That's the first one. And the second one, how much money do they put on your bank related to your total deposits or total?
In general, when I said like we have 28% in general, that means they might have current account, home purchase plan, or saving accounts in many different ways. And they come to us basically, as I mentioned, for example, they might come to us because we offer good services, because we offer good products. As I mentioned this year.
What do they like the most?
Sorry?
What do they like the most? Normally, I mean,
We don't know. We don't know like what they prefer in general. But as I mentioned, we are the best fixed term deposit provider in the UK. So they might come to us for that reason, or because also we are ethical. ethical banking. Some of them, they consider us, we offer banking in Sharia compliant way or ethical way. That might be the reason. But we don't have specific reason why. That's 3 reasons: services, products, and ethical banking.
When will you open the bank here in Durham?
As I mentioned, we have 15 branches and offices, and we have in our head office we have contact center. So in the contact center we serve all customers around the UK, but we have offices and branches from Glasgow to London. And inshallah one day, but usually inshallah one day in the future, we are still a small bank. Inshallah we are growing. Hopefully.
Just to add on to Saeed, you can still do Islamic banking, as in with us. You can open up an account online, and you can take our services through Lloyds Bank. So we have a partnership that you can, for example, to deposit money and over-the-counter services, you can take it from Lloyds Bank. However, there is a small charge to it as well, because we don't have the branch and everything over here. So we offer those services as well.
So
if
even
you
in
go
the
to our website, you can get it.
Even in the contact center, if you have your account in any other bank, you transfer your money to Arabian Bank. So contact center, in reality, we are dealing with customers around the UK. So from everywhere in the UK.
Right. Is there any question? Yes, please. 1, 2, 3. Yes. You go first, please.
Thanks a lot. It's always interesting to have some insights from you guys. My question is on my expected is about commodity murabaha. Yes. But not about the product itself, but during the summer school we heard about using platforms, internet platforms to be connected easier with the brokers. Even one of the bankers said we might not use the brokers anymore because it's a high cost. So in order to have higher profits, so offer lower products in terms of cost, we might not use the brokers. So what is your point of view about using a product which is, we hope, commodity murabaha, we all know about it, on the Sharia compliance issue, used with a platform. So what is your point of view as a junior in terms of product development? Because you are the new generation, you are the one who will develop the new product on more Sharia compliant products.
Thank you for your question. In general, as we all know, commodity murabaha not the best way to do Islamic finance. But in general, many scholars approved it, and even according to AOP, which is an independent organization, they do approve it. So in general, it's not the perfect way. And in some regulation, for example, in Oman, by law, it's not allowed to use commodity murabaha, just to help Islamic finance to improve. So, however, nothing wrong from Islamically, from Sharia point of view, to have commodity murabaha. Not the best way. Not the best way. In urgent situation, you can use it. You must buy the commodity, you must sell commodity, and you must sell to different providers. It's not allowed to, for example, just have it as a number moved between. That's not Sharia compliant. So you must buy when you have commodity murabaha. For example, I will buy this from my friend here. I will sell it, for example, with extra profit to Omar. Omar definitely should sell it to someone else. It's not allowed to sell it to the same person. That's according to AOFI standards. In Malaysia, they don't mind to sell it back to the same person. They call it بيع العينة. بيع العينة. So if you sell it to different one, nothing wrong from Sharia perspective. But the most important, to sell it to different supplier or different broker. If you are not moving the commodity, that's not Sharia. And even if you look to commodity murabaha, let us say, for example, you don't have access to Islamic banking. You might go to any telecommunication provider. You might get contract with iPhone, for example, for 2 years. They will give you the iPhone immediately. So you will take iPhone, sell it immediately to someone else. He will give you, for example, 500 or 600 pounds. In this way, you get cash. Islamically, nothing wrong, because you bought on deferred payment, mobile, you sell it to different provider at spot price. So Islamically, nothing wrong. However, you should move the commodity, not do it like without real broker or just to move number. That's not Islamic and that's not Sharia compliant.
So you will not use this kind of
No, it must be different. We do use commodity murabaha only in commercial property finance, and in specific situation. Commercial property finance in our bank offered based on Masyarakat, partnership contract, and ijara. Sometimes as a partner in the commercial property finance, you have to pay tax. on capital gain and all of this stuff. Only in this situation, we prefer to use community murabaha. Only in this situation, and the seller of commercial property finance must mention why he used commodity murabaha. If they don't mention the reason, we consider that as a Sharia issue. Even there's nothing wrong to use it, but they must mention the reason why they chose commodity murabaha. So we use it only when we are subject to tax. So that's the only reason why we use it. And when we use it, we buy from broker, we sell it to the customer, and he sell it to different broker. We don't sell it to the same broker. So two different companies.
You have a small percentage of this product.
Very low, very low. Yeah, because as I mentioned, only for commercial property finance. We don't use it for home purchase plan. Home purchase plan only based on Masyarakat and Durham. So home purchase plan, and as I mentioned, we use it only when we are subject to tax. That's the only reason when we use it. Thank you for the question.
Right, the next one, please.
Yeah, thank you. I want to know your perspective, but I want to ask about the product development perspective. So you say that Rayan Bank developed the product by following the demand. But you also say that there is not so much people here, at least not the biggest market for Rayan Bank if you follow the demand that are now. So I want to ask your plan for creating a new product that also create a new market. Do you understand the question?
Yes. In general, in the UK, it's regulatory requirement to offer products in line with the demand. And at the end, as I mentioned, the bank, any bank, not just Rayan Bank, is not a charity. So if they know the cost, there is high cost to offer any products. If there is no demand, it's difficult to offer any product. So in reality, as I mentioned, again, I will repeat it, we need demand to be able to. It's not easy to offer any products. You need like 4 months. If it's completely new, at least 4 or 5 months to offer new products. It will cost you for the structure of the product, the legal agreements, terms and conditions, policy, procedure, agreements with other providers. So it will cost you a lot. If you want to develop this product and there is no demand for this product, why you should offer it?
Okay. So what is your plan for expanding the market? So for it is the brand, are you working on the brand, or are you working to educate the market? Or?
Market, in terms of market, my friend from marketing department, so can help you.
With the brand, we have taken an approach that first of all, there is a lot of demand for Islamic finance because we were, I think we don't have a competitor to date, but Gatehouse would be coming in future in I think couple of months time and everything. So we were the only wholly Sharia compliant bank in the UK. Retail, who are giving their services and everything. So we still have a lot of demand, and we are trying our level best to cater to that demand. So the demand is so much that's why we have in the last couple of years we've grown massively. We're like, both of us can tell. 2 years back, our organization, the total employees we had like 120, and over these last 2 years we've grown over than 220 employees. So the bank is growing really fastly and rapidly since we have been taken over by Mustafa Al-Rayan. How we are educating now, this is as in right now what we are over here is also a part of the education that we are doing. We are going to different universities and everything, and we are trying to create awareness through not only through the events and giving these seminars as well, but we have a whole list of videos that we actually made which are available on our website and which we actively promote via social media and everything, and telling people what is the difference between the normal conventional banking and the Islamic banking, and this is the ethical way of banking. So, and again, if you look at the recent statistics, we have 28% of our customers are non-Muslim customers because they appreciate the ethical side of our banking, and this is the right way of banking. So we are promoting, but it takes time to whatever product you're doing, it takes time to reach the masses. And mashallah, the growth in the past 2 years, as we said, it has been massive. And we recently, last year, we hit our 1 billion asset mark as well, so which is mashallah really good as well. And we're hoping, I think sky is the limit for us that over here, because again, we don't have any competitors in the retail side. and we are the only one at the moment. So yes, we are doing our level best, but we also have constraints, the budgetary constraints and everything. So we have to look at that as well. And this is a slow process, but inshallah you'll see in a couple of years, you'll start seeing more. And again, as he mentioned about the 15 offices, I'll just give you a little bit of brief history. So we only had like 5 branches and 2 offices 2 years back. So you can see, so within 2 years, so we have doubled the number of offices, number of outlets that we have, and we are trying to cater to the demand.
Thank you.
Right.
And
Thank you very much.
even our brother who was sitting here, like you saw us in different universities.
Yeah. So we met the brother in Bangor University, and
he saw us in University in Wales.
All right. Sorry, I'm afraid that we are running out of time, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Saeed. I believe some of them are actually asking whether you are still single or not.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Please
Probably
join.
yeah, both
Also,
of you
can
probably get.
Oh, if you can, please.
Sure.
Yeah, both of you will be great. Yeah, that's nice.
Should get
he's the main person. We can have one before that.
Don't worry, we still have your batteries. Yeah.
Yes, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Just to summarize, thank you so much for coming today. It was a great pleasure to be with you. Just in a brief, just remember, the oldest conventional bank is based in Italy. It was established 1472. The oldest Islamic bank is based in Dubai. It was established around 1975. That means 500 years between the oldest conventional and oldest Islamic. So still a lot to be done, and you are the future of Islamic finance.
Ameen.
Hopefully, can be better in the future.
Ameen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really great lecture.